Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is December the 20th. Don't have a long time for today's show, so we're going to jump right into it for today. Didn't even go through every single game, but I told you guys yesterday that I was going to do a show this morning. Talk about the games, man. There are a couple games that I went through. There's a couple plays that I made already. I'll probably end up adding if I can get some more time to finish the handicapping the card, but I don't have a lot of time today. So we're gonna jump right into it. So yesterday, miserable 0-2 day for myself. I ended up not taking anything. I took OKC first half minus the 3.5, stayed off of them for the full game. They got out to I think like a 13 point lead in the first quarter. And then I think they scored 3. They made 3 shots in the second quarter, or 4 shots in the second quarter, and end up winning the first half by 3. Those are the worst type of beats in my opinion, where you have the big lead and then you just give it up, sulk it away, and that's what OKC did yesterday. I kind of figured out OKC though. I think I got OKC figured out now. They're playing against a really good defensive team on the road. You probably want to take their team total under because that's what we saw in the Cup game too. Their offense is not as good on the road. They couldn't shoot the ball from the 3-point line last night, and Timberwolves came to play. So that was the loser that I played pregame. And then the other play I made was the Atlanta Hawks and the San Antonio Spurs. We talked about the over on the show yesterday. I didn't bet the over before the show started. I bet the over at the end of the first quarter. The total, I think, closed at 240, 238.5. We got a 226.5, and Atlanta just never showed up to the party. San Antonio did their part. They finished, I think, with 122, 124 points. Atlanta, I don't think, cracked 100 last night. And this is miserable shooting. That's the second time in, I think, the last week that we've been on the wrong side of a total just because the team just absolutely cannot shoot the basketball. Chicago and New Orleans was the same exact way. We lost that total by 2 points. Last night, we lost the total by 2 points. Live number, just not able to make shots. And, that's the variance that comes with the NBA. So we give up the games that we got the night before. After 2-0 night, we go 0-2. A lot of things I talked about on the show yesterday did cash. I ended up not just running out of time, just running around yesterday, waiting for the injury reports. Didn't have a lot of time. So appreciate you all for tapping in. It's probably not a lot of people here just because I didn't have this schedule, but appreciate you guys for tapping in. Jay King says, morning, Chris, 76 plus 4.5 was gold last night. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you cashed it. I did not play it, even with Embiid being out. It still was a great bet. What up, Blunt? He says, my 76ers are back. Good morning, Tyler. What up, Peasy? Celtics first quarter was trash. Yeah, Celtics, I got the Celtics figured out too, though. And I know it's not going to be a long show, but look, so I'm always thinking, right? So here's this is what you do with the Celtics. The Celtics are a high variance team because they're going to be taking a bunch of threes. Either they're gonna make them or they're gonna miss them. And here's how you figure out the Celtics. If they're cold at the beginning of the game, they're probably not gonna cover the first quarter, first half. So the Celtics are a prime time team to bet live. The Celtics are going to either make a bunch of threes in the first half and then cool off in the second half after the coach makes adjustments, or they're gonna do the opposite. They're gonna start off not making any shots like last night, and then their shots will eventually start to fall. So the Celtics are like, if they're ever up and you can catch an 18.5 point spread for the other team because they just made 7 threes in a row and they go, Derek White for 3. Like, that's when you start wanting to fade them because eventually the 3-point shot is going to come back down to earth. That's how you bet the Celtics game. I don't think I'm ever going to bet a Celtics game before the game starts anymore. That's just how I think about the Celtics. But I do have some thoughts on the game between them and the Raptors today. Let's see. What up, Free Sauce? Brian says, hi, Chris. I placed the first half -4. Got beat 2 got beat 2 is fine today. 2 is let's find it today, I think is what he means. What up, Parlay J says, smacking something today, Chris. High energy. Absolutely. No, that's for sure. I did a lot of research on a couple games that I have looked into for sure. So we're going to jump right into it, man. What's up, Swish? He says, good morning, Chris. Glad to catch you live, my guy. Right back at you, my brother. Happy holidays to you and the fam. Let's jump into the game. So we'll start with JaXon, AI Sports Betting Tool. Link is in the description if you guys are interested in checking it out. Yesterday, JaXon went 1-1 as well. JaXon like OKC -7.5 yesterday morning before Anthony Edwards got ruled in. That was a loser. JaXon like Philly in New York under the 229. That was a winner yesterday. And then as far as today goes, kept the same prompt, interested in, totals and sides rather than player props for today's prompt. So ask JaXon for the best side in total. JaXon likes the Lakers minus the 1. It says that the Lakers are 19-7, are significantly outperforming the Clippers 6-21 this season. And the advanced metrics can confirm the gap is wider than the current spread suggests. So the Lakers boast the best win differential in the league at 4.5, which is first, meaning they have 4.5 more wins than their expected win total. This indicates a team that's consistently finding ways to win close games, a fact supported by their 10-0 record in clutch games this season. Okay. Clippers home struggles. They've been disastrous against the spread at home, failing to cover 10 straight games at the Intuit Dome. They have also lost 8 consecutive games against Western Conference opponents. Offensive mismatch. The Lakers rank 6th in offensive rating, 118.8, and 6th in points per 100 possessions at 120.2. They face a Clippers defense that ranks 26th in defensive rating, 28th in points allowed. The Lakers offense is poised to exploit this weak defense. So then this head-to-head dominance, the Lakers have already defeated the Clippers early this season, 135-118. The news narrative highlights that the Clippers are in a disaster season after 5-game losing streak, making them vulnerable even in a rivalry game. That's the Lakers spread bet. The total, same game, JaXon likes the over 228.5. So this total is actually hasn't moved a lot. So 228.5 is available on BetMGM. It is juiced to minus 120. Looks like consensus is 229 right now. It says that there's some defensive vulnerabilities in this game. Both teams rank near the bottom half in defensive efficiency. Lakers are 22nd in defensive rating at 117.1. Clippers 26th in defensive rating, 118.9. This news confirms the defense has, quote, not been a priority for either team this season, end quote. Recent over trends. Lakers have been strong over team recently, cashing 8 of their last 10 games over. The news also notes that the over has cashed 8 of the last 10 Laker games overall. Head-to-head history. First meeting between the two teams resulted in a massive 253 points scored. Blowing past this total, the historical context strongly suggests the current line is undervalued. Offensive firepower, despite the Clippers' struggles, the news notes that the quote, firepower on both rosters, end quote, is significant. The Lakers rank 6th in offensive rating, and their offense has been particularly potent, ranking 8th in offensive rating through 7 games in December. So JaXon likes the over in that game. JaXon likes the Lakers in that game. Take that information, do what you want. Link is in the description. Let's get through these games, man. So I'm only going through, I think it's 3 of them that I want to go through, but I did spend a lot of time on the ones that I did go through. So, and then I got a 5-minute Q&A session at the 5-minute Q&A section at the end. So if you guys have questions, I'll go through as much as I possibly can, but I will be putting a timer on for 5 minutes. First up, we start with this Houston Rockets and Denver Nuggets game. So line last night opened Denver minus 1.5. Total was at 237. We've seen a little bit of money coming in on the under. It's down to 235.5, and we've seen a flip of favorites. Houston is now laying a point and a half on DraftKings, depending on where you're shopping. So Houston, of course, coming off the loss to the Pelicans in their most recent game. Before that, they lost as well. They've actually failed to cover in 4 straight games. This is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Sacramento Kings tomorrow, and the Houston Rockets have played in 4 straight overs. On the Denver side of things, they've won 8 of their last 10. They've covered 3 straight, third straight home game for them, and they're currently on a 6-game winning streak. So Denver, of course, won the both matchups so far this season. Houston is now 0-2, both straight up and against the spread. Denver went in and beat Houston in Houston to start the season, and they just beat them in the most recent game. So one thing I looked at, because last night I'm looking at this game and I'm like, man, I want to bang my head against the wall and take Houston again. And I wanted just a little bit of confirmation, and I found it in the reading that I was doing. So I'm gonna read to you guys what I was reading last night and what ultimately led me to play this game. So Houston coach Ime Udoka was critical of the officiating, especially the foul call on Amin Thompson with 2.3 seconds left in regulation that allowed Denver to tie the game with a free throw. Udoka's comments drew a fine from the league, and his move wasn't much better after the team lost another overtime game, this time to the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday night. The Rockets blew a 25-point lead to the lowly Pelicans. Quote, after holding them to 45 in the first half, the team gave up 74 in the second half, 38 and a 36-point quarter, Ime Udoka said after the loss. Quote, obviously, that's an embarrassing defensive effort there. but guys look intimidated, scared out of the double teams to make plays. End quote. So my thought process is Ime is using these post-game interviews to highly motivate his team. And we've seen a couple times where Ime Udoka has, called his team out. And whenever he calls them scared, they typically respond. I think that they will in this game. I'm banging my head against the wall again with Houston. I played them on the money line -110 on FanDuel. And I also played the under. A lot of what I saw as far as the under goes is more historical. I looked at these home favorites that were laying less than 2. This was last night, of course. Home favorites laying less than 2, and they're currently on a win streak of 5 games or more, and they're just 31-41 straight up. That supports the Houston Rockets. They're also 57% to the under as well. So I bet Houston. I bet under. This is a 5:00 start time game. I think these teams are very familiar with each other. If we don't see as many free throws as we saw in the last game, which I know both of these teams, I ain't gonna say they foul a lot, but I think we just see we see Houston finally get their first win. I think they knock off Denver today. I think we see less free throws. Denver, not the greatest defensive team, of course, but I think Houston will be able to slow them down. I bet under. If the total is dropping, I got a 237. It's down to 235.5. And I'm on Houston for this game. So those are my thoughts. This is the one game that I didn't really look into player props because I just want to really, if I'm betting player props, I know I'm going right back to Jokic. Alfred Sengun can't guard him. They gonna have their hands full trying to figure it out against Jokic. And dude's a monster. He's over in both of his games so far this season. So I guess really quickly I can pull that up and just show you guys. But remember, I said this the other day. I just didn't bet on Jokic, but yeah, he presents a really tough matchup. And Sengun is as good as he is offensively. Sengun is not great defensively. I watched him get absolutely cooked against Zubac a couple games ago, and then he can't hold Jokic jockstrap. Not defensively. Trying to slow him down. Nobody can slow him down, but I feel like Jokic he always gets up for this matchup against baby Jokic is what they call him. So. Here's Nikola Jokic. Here is his points. You can see that he's over in just 3 of his last 5 games. They did set it up to 29.5, and the head-to-head matchups 34-29. So yeah, Ime Udoka, good as a defensive coach he is, he has nothing for Jokic. 55% and 48% in these 2 games. Highly aggressive, 20 and 27 shots in both games so far this season. If I'm betting a player prop, I am going back to Jokic. So those are my quick thoughts there. Let's see. I'm going to breeze through the comments really quickly and get on to the next game. Just because I am a little bit on a time crunch. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with this from Blunt. Got walked down last game. Free sauce just got walked down by the Pelicans, man. Pelicans actually playing a little bit of defense. That game is interesting today between them and the Pacers. I spent a lot of time looking into that game too, but I'm not going to talk about it on the show. Let's see. Please reminding people to bet responsibly. Absolutely, always bet responsibly. Let's see. What up, Vario? He says good luck with your game today, coach. Appreciate you. I appreciate that, Vario. We actually off today. No game today because of the holiday break. We got a good practice in on Thursday though. Appreciate you, Vario, as always. Jay Hank says, any chance Pacers +2 is worth more than total? We're gonna talk about it. What's up, Mark? Says happy holidays, Chris and chat. Happy to be catching the live. Appreciate you, Mark, as always. Mark got in with Houston +1.5 last night. Says they need to get back from the last game. They need to get back from the last 2 games. They're coming off an overtime game. Denver hasn't had to travel. It sets up well for Denver. I just think that Houston probably should have won the last game. I'm not flipping to Denver in this spot. And these teams on these long win streaks, and then all of a sudden they're a dog or, a short favorite, they typically don't do well. So I'm riding with the trend, riding with the Rockets. Rockets are under for me. Next game up, Celtics and the Raptors. Line last night was at 1.5. Hasn't really moved a lot. Still Boston laying 1.5 on the road in this game. Total hasn't really moved a lot. Open 223.5. Look like it is come up just to 224.5. So on the injury report, we have Boston, of course, can submit their injury report late. I didn't see anybody get, go down in that game last night. I would think that they'd be with everybody outside of Tatum. And then on Toronto side of things, Jakob Poeltl is listed as questionable, and RJ Barrett, who has been, getting some more practice time in and getting more reps, but he will not be available in this game for today. So Toronto, of course, has the rest advantage. Boston playing second leg of back-to-back. They have covered 8 of their last 10 games. Toronto's just 4-10 against the spread at home, only 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games, but they have covered back-to-back and won back-to-back games. So the Raptors trying to get right. They do have in-season revenge. They just lost to the Boston Celtics right before the little layover that the teams have experienced. So what I went to in this game was I actually went to I didn't bet this either, not yet anyway. There's a couple of different player props that make sense in this game to me. First one is Scotty Barnes over his boards. So it's pretty high. It's at 8.5. But if Jakob Poeltl doesn't play, he's listed as questionable. He didn't play in the last game, I don't think. I looked at Scotty Barnes. He has averaged 13.9 rebound chances without Jakob Poeltl playing this season. And in games where he's had at least 13 rebound chances, he's actually over the 8.5 line in 14 of his 16 games. That's good for 87%. He averages 10.1 rebounds in those games. He's had 11. He did have 11 rebounds against Boston in the earlier matchup this season. So I like Scotty Barnes. I think that he'll have to go down there and grab those boards without Jakob Poeltl. He's their best rebounder in my opinion. So I can see him getting double-digit boards. I like that play. The other thing I considered was Emmanuel Quickly over his 2.5 threes. I'm not going to pull this up on the screen just for time purposes, but I lean Quickly over his threes. I haven't bet this one yet either. And this is really just because Boston's not a great three-point defense. They give up a ton of threes, and he's the only one in my opinion that can knock down the three consistently for this Toronto team. So real quick, if I just go into I don't really like seeing stuff without giving you guys the numbers behind it. So if I go in and look at Boston, which I did, I just didn't write it down. If I go in and look at Boston defensively, and with them having to travel, I mean, you got to go through customs, to get to this game. I kind of feel like Toronto's live, but I don't know, man. I kind of need to see a little bit more from Toronto. Boston is the sixth worst defense in the NBA. They are allowing the second most above the break threes. And we know Toronto, specifically Emmanuel Quickly, that's where he likes to live. And I think this is not even juiced either. He's only played in 2 games since he's been back. Emmanuel Quickly, that is. And he went over in one and he went under in the other. The game that he went under, he missed every three. I forgot exactly who he was playing against, but I do remember looking at it. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. So Quickly, yeah, he's only been back for 2 games. Against the Heat, he went 3 for 9, and against the Bucks, he went 0 for 4. So these were the 2 games that he's played so far. I like the matchup against the Celtics today. So Quickly over his 2.5 threes. The other one I considered was Jamal Shead over his 14.5 points. Minutes increase as of late. He's played at least 23 minutes in 3 straight games, over in all 3 games. With 20-plus minutes so far this season, he's over in 6 of his 10 games. And he'll be out there, I think, for his defense and, continue to play more minutes, in my opinion. I think the minutes on the uptick, so we're getting a little buy low spot, a little discount for Jamal Shead in this spot. I thought, rebound, points, rebounds, and assists. Boston is the top 5 rebounding team. So I took the rebounds out, but I like his points and assists. Without RJ, I think he's going to continue to be out there on the floor, and he's definitely helped them, contributed to their success. So I would think that Rakhjanovic, I think is how you pronounce his name, we want to play him a little bit more. So Jamal Shead over his points and assists, Quickly over his 2.5 threes, and Scotty Barnes rebounds if Jakob Poeltl doesn't play. That's my thought process. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Toronto money line, likes and goon, rebounds and assists. Free Saw says, going back to that last game, since he had 20 rebounds and assists last game versus Denver. Rockets money line, J-Man likes it. Blast says, happy holidays, Chris. Much love as always. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. That's a fact, man. Shout out to New York. Appreciate you, Vlad. Let's see. What up, Cal? Appreciate you for tapping in. Mitch says, man, the Cavs be printing me money. As long as they keep pricing my Cavs like last season Cavs, I'm fading them, fading these turns. I hope they get everyone back next game. I'll still be fading them. Free money. Jay Carter says, what's up, Chris? Question. You ever throw the unit size of betting out the window for certain plays, like plays you really like, and bet way more than you should? You should. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, yeah. But, I mean, it's so much variance in the NBA today. Absolutely not. Everything is risk management is the most important part of sports betting. I've blown my account before. Not recently because I don't do that, but I've blown my account before thinking, oh, this team got to win. The proverbial rent money play. I've done that plenty of times. Just not recently. I don't do stuff like that anymore. Mark says, I like Toronto, but no bad. D. Johnson says, points, rebounds, and assists for Scotty Barnes. Taylor says, you have any take on White under his 19.5 points, scores 50%. Via pull up Raptors are ninth best for pull up. He's under in six of his 10 games versus teams that rank 10th or better versus pull up, but he's over in 4 straight. I would look, Taylor, at how he does in the second leg of back to back. Yeah, I would just look at how he does on the second leg of back to back. Maybe Derek White just gets into these games where, I mean, it's kind of hard to pick the one that he's going to shoot the ball pretty poorly. When I was looking at Toronto, that's the thing, right? I like Boston in the last game when they played Toronto in Toronto. I didn't bet it. They won. They covered. I remember Toronto just running out of gas. I was on the Peloton watching this game. It was an early game, I think, like an early evening game. Toronto's not a bad three-point defense. They actually are top 2 3-point defense in the NBA. They hold teams to 34%. They're top 5 in, above the break 3-point defense. Corner 3 defense. They should be live to win this game. I think it's, a little suspicious Boston only laying 1.5 in the second leg of a back-to-back with travel, especially how much energy they had to use last night to come back to win that game last night. So I don't know if I would fade Derek White, but maybe. Yeah, I probably would fade Derek White. Yeah, I think it's the hard thing to do. Typically, the hard plays win. So, yeah, my thought process would be under, Taylor. Under in 3 of his 4 back-to-back, averaging 13.9. So give me Derek White under. You know what? I might tell you because I might put together a little same game parlay, maybe a 10th of a unit on this. I like it, Taylor. I like all the plays that I talked about too. Cavs and Celtics team total under maybe. Yeah, it could be an under spot for their team total, especially if we're thinking that Toronto is going to play, continue to defend the 3-point line well. They have revenge on their mind. And both of these teams are extremely slow paced, right? If Boston shots not falling, they're going to always stay under their team total. Excuse me. When I was looking into it, I can't remember the numbers. Toronto is 24th in pace last 5 games, which is 7th slowest. And Boston is the 3rd slowest pace team. They're 28th in pace in their last 5 games as well. So the under makes a lot of sense. Boston team total under, I think, is a really good look right here from Cal as well. Boston is 113.5, juice to the under at -118, 112.5 everywhere else. FanDuel got the best number. All right, appreciate y'all for tapping in. I feel like talking these games out has been helpful. I'm gonna add Boston team total under on my short list as well. I would definitely want that 113.5 though. It's on FanDuel for people that have access and that are interested. All right, next game up. Let's go to this. Is the last game I actually went through was the Dallas and the 76ers. So. Dallas, last night I wrote down Philly -2 is where it opened at. I think it touched 3, and now it's still 3 out there. There's a lot of 3s out there, and 2.5. It looks like it's consensus. Total has come down from 229.5 down to 227. I think it's consensus right now. So you start with the injury report. Klay Thompson is listed as questionable in this game. Not sure how much that moved the needle. He's coming off the bench now anyway. And then you got Anthony Davis listed as probable. He should be playing, but I mean, again, kind of like AD, kind of like Joel Embiid. Who knows? But he is listed as probable. And then Philly can submit the injury report late. They'll be flying back, of course, second leg of back-to-back after beating the New York Knicks last night in the Garden. So Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. He was listed as questionable yesterday, then got downgraded. No Kelly Oubre, of course, and no Trent Wofford. So Dallas has won 6 of their last 8 games. They've covered 7 of their last 10. They're coming off that overtime win. They're coming off back-to-back overtime wins. I think they went to overtime with the Jazz as well. But most recently, they beat Detroit at home. I think they were getting 5.5 points in that game, 5 points, something like that. And then we talked about Philly. Second leg of back-to-back. They've covered 3 straight. They're off until Tuesday after this game. So they got a nice little extended break. The other thing I looked at with Philly, this is a tough game to bet from a side perspective because Philly is actually undefeated, ATS-wise, playing unrested. They're 5-0 against the number when they're playing unrested. That was the first thing I wanted to see. How does Philly do on the second leg of a back-to-back? Now, when I looked into the game, and I don't think I wrote this down, but when I looked into this game as far as like historically, not Philly specifically, but when I looked historically at teams that were coming off a game where, I still got it pulled up. Okay. So teams that are, did I write this down? Yeah, I did. So unrested home favorites coming off a road win as a dog. So this is the spot for the Sixers. Unrested home favorites coming off a road win as a dog playing against a non-conference opponent. These games are 61% to the over in the Give Me the Dog database. And this dates all the way back, I think, to like 1995. More recently, it's been more overs as well. Let me just see real quick. Yeah, so the last time we saw this happen was last season. The Nuggets and the Bulls. That game went over the total. Let's see, went over by 9 points. We saw it last year with the Kings and the Heat. It went over by 23 points. We saw it was only twice last season. Before that, we saw it 3 times in the 2024 season. It went over in 2 of the 3 games, 7.5 points over and 19.5 points over. The one under was the Clippers and the Raptors back on November the 4th, 2024. And that one did stay severely under the total. But the last few, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have gone over the total, and it hasn't even been close. And this has been since the 2023 season. I like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the last 7 have gone over the total. That's the way I kind of see the game. I think that, yes, Philly will want to play hard. I feel like Dallas plays with enough pace to get this one up and over the total. I like over in this game if I'm betting it. I don't agree with the total dropping. I think Dallas offensively can score enough points. I think Philly can get continue to score the basketball as well. However, when I went and looked at the player props, there's 2 that jumped off the page to me. One I played, one I just leaned. The first one is Cooper Flag over his 18.5 points. And I'm going to actually pull this up so you guys can see it. So Cooper has absolutely been hooping. I like what I saw in the last game against Detroit. Detroit, of course, is one of the better defensive teams. And that one kind of sold me a little bit. Cooper Flag is not somebody that I have bet on at all, I don't think, over the season. But he had a big game against the Jazz, and that's the Jazz, right? Like anybody can have a big game against the Jazz. But if we look at Cooper Flag, if we look at his points, dude's been crushing it. You can see he's over. What I wrote in my notes was that he's over in 7 of his last 8 games. You can see those right here, 4 straight, 7 of his last 8. He likes to score in transition, gets about 22% of his points in transition. Philly's bottom 10 defensively, and they're traveling back from New York, so may even be worse. He also gets 18% of his points off the pick and roll ball handler. Philly is bottom 5 in that department as well. So Cooper Flag has a really good matchup. His points listed at 18.5 feels like a decent spot in my opinion, even though he is coming off an overtime game. You can see the last 10, he's been crushing the number, averaging 22.8. I think it's a good spot for Cooper Flag today. I like Cooper Flag. The other play that I really like is, and this is the one that I bet. I didn't bet on Cooper Flag, but I like Paul George. I bet Paul George under his 16.5 points today. This is an official play. Paul George has, just been kind of sporadic, kind of all over the place. We look at his games so far this season. He's averaging right at 16.8. He's only over in 4 of his 11 games so far this season. The teams that he went over against, the Bucks are on hit twice. The Pacers, team he used to play for, and then the Atlanta Hawks not playing any defense right now at all. The reason why I like this play so much, and I started the handicap with trying to find somebody threes I wanted to fade for the 76ers. And the reason for that is because I talked about this with Detroit going to Dallas in their last game. Dallas is not a team. They run you off the 3-point line. You're going to have to score in the paint. So Joel Embiid might be a pretty good matchup in this game. Maybe Maxey getting towards the rim, VJ Edgecombe to go over his points. But I'm going to fade Paul George here specifically. Dallas is the number 1 3-point defense in the NBA. They're holding teams under 33%. That's all threes, above the break threes. Against the corner 3, they're 7th in opponent frequency, 4th in opponent accuracy, holding teams under 35%. So it's a terrible matchup for Paul George, where he likes to score the ball. If his threes aren't falling, he probably won't be efficient and effective in games where Paul George has hit two threes or less. He's actually under 16.5 points in 6 of his 7 games, averaging just 12.6. Then there's the back-to-back, which he hasn't played in the back-to-back all season. We can see that if we go we add this filter right back-to-back. We can see that he has not played in any back-to-backs after playing 33 minutes last night. So that could potentially factor into this. And then he played 33 minutes last night as well. If we take that filter off, you can see that he did play 33 minutes last night. So I think, and that's a lot of minutes. I think for Paul George, who's a little older now, I think Paul George, I don't know if he's going to be ruled out. We'll see if he plays his first back-to-back. I just like this line because I was on OddsJam this morning, and this line was at 16.5. So A lot of other books had this at 14.5. You can see 14.5 is right here. 15.5 is right here. So to get this at 16.5 and be able to take the under, I love that spot. I'm on Paul George under his points in this game. I think it's a bad matchup. The back-to-back. Joel Embiid potentially coming back. Played 33 minutes last night. Yeah, I like Paul George. I faded him in this spot and also lean towards Cooper Flag to be able to go over his points prop as well in this game. So that's my thought process on this one. Let's get back here. All right. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Let's see. Dub says, does Moneyballer agree with the over? Let's see. The Dallas game, no trends on the total at all. Well, there are trends, but let's see. The Mavs are 57% to the over in road games. Sixers are 25% to the over in there as a favorite. So typically their games go under. So I can't really find a lot, but that's just the way I think about the game. I think it goes over the total. Maybe even a first half over as well. Dallas has been playing a little bit slower recently. On the full season, they're 16th in pace, 6th in pace, but last 5 games, they're 19th in pace. Philly is not a fast-paced team. They're 23rd in pace as well. If Embiid comes back, it'll slow the game down for sure. But I just think it goes over. Maybe it's just Dallas team total over. I think offensively they are 11th in offensive rating as well in their last 5 games, and that was their Achilles heel, right? At home, they're 29th in offensive rating. On the full season, they're 28th in offensive rating. So maybe it's just Dallas being able to score the basketball a little bit more. I think Dallas could potentially be live in this game too. I didn't really look too deeply into it, but you can get a 111.5 for their team total over at BetMGM. It's juiced to minus 125, 112.5 is the consensus. What's up, mid-range? Appreciate you for tapping in. 76ers favored on back-to-back with travel. Hell no. Give me Dallas. Okay. Taylor says, yeah, I like Paul George. Under, Swish. Under. Tells us, yeah, how do we not go with Flag? 20 plus percent of his points via transition and pick and roll handler. 76ers bottom 10 in both handles, over in 7 of his last 12 versus teams that are 21st or worse. First transition, over in 5 straight. Yeah, I agree with that. Maxi for DJ, over his 33.5 points, 34.5 points and assists is a cash cow. Yeah, I could definitely see Maxi having another big game in this spot. Philly last 5 games against Western Conference team have gone under. Mid says, nice to throw that in there as well. Something tells me this one goes over though. So I would be betting over in this game. All right, now the quick 5-minute session. I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. If y'all got questions, put them in the chat, man. Put them in the chat and I will answer them. After that, I'm off of here. I didn't go through the other games. If I get a chance later, I will, but I don't know if I'll have time or not. So I got 5 minutes to answer questions. While you guys are writing the questions, I will go through just a few more notes. Indiana and New Orleans. I told you guys I was looking into this game. Injury report wise, I think Indiana is pretty healthy. Let me just double check. Yeah, Indy is, they're pretty healthy. And then the Pelicans are only without DeJounte Murray. So the one interesting thing in this game was Indy is only 1-11 straight up on the road this season, 5-7 against the spread. 3 straight losses for the Pacers as well. They lost that game to the Wizards. Then they lost to the Knicks. And before that, I can't remember who they lost to, but they lost 3 straight. Pelicans are 4-12 straight up at home, 9-5-2 against the number, 8-2 against the spread. They've won 3 straight, 4 straight covers for them, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. And the other thing I looked at was that they made it hard for it from a total perspective is Indiana is 10-2 to the under in their road game. Strong trend towards the Pacers and under. on the road, but the Pelicans are 12-4 to the over in home games, including 7 straight overs. So that made it hard from a total perspective. I guess if I'm playing, I'm probably looking towards the over. I don't really trust the Pelicans defense, although it has been a lot better. I wouldn't say a lot better. They had a defensive rating of like 122. Last 5 games is down to 117. So it is a little bit better. Last 5 games. They are, of course, getting healthier as well. You got Herb Jones out there. Trey Murphy's a pretty good defender. Getting Zion back. And then the Pacers offense has been atrocious on the road. So I kind of low-key wanted to play the Pelicans. But I can't lay points with the Pelicans. They've been favored one time against Charlotte. They did cover. They won. But that ain't enough for my money. And I think the Pacers will be motivated in this game. I do think the Pelicans got enough offense to win this game, though. So with the line coming down, I kind of lean Pelicans. I say all that to say that. Said that to say this. Let's see what you guys are thinking real quick. We'll do this in 5 minutes. Let's see. Mark says thoughts on Phoenix +6, please. So Phoenix has Grayson Allen on the injury report. Pat Spencer is also on the injury report. Off the injury report. I'm sorry, not on the injury report for the Golden State Warriors side of things. What are we doing with the Warriors, man? I'm not really sure what to do with the Warriors. I think, Golden State won that game. Both teams are 1-1 straight up and against the spread so far this season. Both games went under the total as well. This one opened a lot lower. I think, both of these teams has been really, really struggling to score the basketball as of late when I've been looking into their games. Phoenix just won. I'm sorry. Yeah, Phoenix just won by 1 versus Golden State in Phoenix. No. Who won that game? Golden State won that game, right? No, Phoenix won that game. Yeah, Phoenix won the game because Devin Booker hit the free throw, right? Yeah. So, yeah, Phoenix won that game by 1. I'm not laying points for Golden State right now. I know that they've looked absolutely atrocious, as far as covering spreads and winning games recently. I think I would go Phoenix plus the points. I'm not laying with Golden State in this spot. 4 of the last 5 have stayed under for Phoenix in their games as well. So the total coming down makes a lot of sense to me. I kind of feel like Golden State's been playing a lot slower as well. If I just go to my numbers real quick on my spreadsheet, let me see what we have. And I'll try to get to a couple more questions real quick, but I know I'm not going to get through all of them. So Phoenix is, 19th in pace. The Warriors have slowed down as well. They are 16th in pace at home. They're also 27th in pace. The Warriors have been playing some pretty good defense. They're 5th in defensive rating the last 5 games. And Phoenix is the worst offensive rated team over the last 5 games. So the under makes a lot of sense. Phoenix team total under maybe. Even if the Warriors don't, play great offense, maybe they could hold Phoenix under their team total. Phoenix team total for today is 111.5. That's a pretty low number, but 111.5 is the number. Maybe I would look towards an under mark. Adam says, who are your favorite 3 player props today? That's an easy one because I have that on the recaps page, but it'll pop up in just a second. I went through all of them real quick. W says, do Warriors bounce back against the Suns? They should be able to win. I think just like an under or Phoenix team total under. I don't really trust the Warriors offensively. They've been pretty bad offensively. They're 22nd in offensive rating. Jalen Wells over his 14.5 points. I mean, absolutely. Why not? No Ja Morant. They playing against the Wizards. I was looking into that. It's so funny you mentioned that. So I was looking into this. I was trying to figure out when the last time the Warriors were laying. And I got how long I got? I got like a minute left. I was trying to figure out the last time the Warriors were the Grizzlies were laying. When I was looking into the game last night, I was trying to figure out when the last time the Grizzlies were laying double digits. And it was one time last year. I think they were playing against the Hornets. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, the last time they were laying double digits was on April the 8th, 2024. They were laying double digits against the Hornets, and they won and covered the spread. They were laying 14.5, and they ended up winning the game by 24. They've done well as a double-digit favorite. Like in their last, it's like about like a 10-game sample. They're like 8-2 against the number, maybe even 9-2. I'm not gonna count all these. But yeah, Jalen Wells makes a ton of sense in my opinion. He's shooting the ball a lot. Let me get through a couple more real quick. Go Who says, do you like the Hornets or the Jazz? Plus the points, too many points. Hornets are balling right now, man. A lot of that was variance last game, though. LaMelo shot like 8 for 11 from three-point line. I'm not expecting that to continue. Colin Sexton could potentially come back. He's doubtful. Duncan Robinson's listed as probable. If I'm betting the game, Like I'm fading Charlotte defensively. I think even though they have been playing a little bit better defensively, I think Detroit will be able to score. I think Charlotte will be able to score. I think I'd be betting Charlotte plus the points, and I would be betting Charlotte has covered the number. That's one thing I had looked at when I was looking into that game last night. Charlotte has covered the number. They are in the head-to-head matchup. They've covered 4 straight against Detroit. Winner or loser, they covered the number. They were getting 12 back in February last season. They covered that. They lost by 10. The game did stay under the total. The next game they were getting 7.5 in Detroit. They lost that game by 4. Detroit won both, but they have not been covering. And of course, this last season, but that was one thing that I looked at. Charlotte has covered 2 in a row, 4 of their last 5. I wrote that in my notes as well. Detroit will be motivated coming off that overtime loss against Dallas, though. They're only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games, is what I wrote down for Detroit. So the lines are starting to get a little bit too big for Detroit, but they have been good at home. They can blast you at the crib, but I will be taking the points with the Hornets in that spot. Thoughts on Trey Murphy over his 19.5 points? I don't really have anything. Trey been hooping, but I feel like they've been a lot better recently just because everybody's been playing. But I have been paying attention to the Pelican games. Trey Murphy's been hooping. I would need to look a little bit more deeper into his matchup. I would need to look. I'm not going to have anything in that one. Gamer says, happy holidays, you and the fam, bro. Any plans for the holidays? And watch basketball, kick it with the fam. We got a Christmas party today. I'm about to go cut my son's hair, fry some chicken, clean up. We're not doing much, man. We'll be here. Derek says, what do you think about Orlando, Utah? So I'm glad you mentioned this one. He says, why would the gravy train, that is the Jazz at home, why get off the gravy train regardless if Laurie is in or not? So Laurie is listed as questionable in this game. And I saw that Jalen Suggs is listed as doubtful. Laurie is actually listed as doubtful, my fault. So Orlando's only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. Back-to-back losses against the Knicks and Denver. They only 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 games. Utah's 10-5 against the spread at the crib. Third straight home game for them. They're 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games. Where I wanted to go was the over. I know Laurie is not there. I know Orlando offensively has really, really struggled. I think that's the reason why this total's coming down. And of course, Laurie not being there. When I looked into the Orlando numbers, their offense has really started to struggle recently. And that could be Jalen Suggs not being there. Could be Franz. The offense kind of taking a step back because of Franz. Orlando on the full season is 10th best in offensive rating. Last 5 games, though, they're 23rd in offensive rating. So their offense has kind of fell off a cliff. They have played the 3rd strongest strength of schedule. If you go back and look at who Orlando's played, they had the Cup games. They had the Denver Nuggets in Denver. Those are tough teams to play against. So I think that the over is the best play in this game, even if Lauri Markkanen doesn't play. The Jazz have also played a pretty strong strength of schedule. They played the 4th strongest strength of schedule. And what I wrote in my notes is Orlando's 8-4 to the over on the road, 2-0 to the road, non-conference road games. Utah is 11-4 to the over at home. They're playing at the second. They're second in pace in the last 5 games, 3rd in pace overall at home games specifically. Orlando's 12th in pace. Their offense is just falling off a cliff. What better game to get back on track, though? So Orlando, probably a look like Tristan da Silva, like somebody like him or like an Anthony Black should go crazy in this game with them being shorthanded. Especially, I don't think Suggs is going to play. That's my thought. Tell says Cade to get 10 assists over in 5 of 7 games versus teams that rank 20th or worse in assists allowed. Charlotte allows the 28th most assists in the league. Could definitely see Cade with a double-double today. Should Cleveland blow it up? I said it at the beginning of the season. Cavs should trade Garland and Allen for Giannis. I mean, I think that there's potential for that to happen for sure. Mid-range says, how you feel about Jeremiah Fears to have a good game? Philly damn near lost at defending points and rebounds to the point guard position. So they're not playing Philly, right? They're playing Indy. And I'm not sure how the matchup is going to be. Nembhard is a top 5 perimeter defender, in my opinion, as far as point guards. He picks up 40 feet, 80 feet. I'm not sure if he's going to get the Nembhard. I don't know if he's going to get the Nembhard treatment. Whoever Benedict Mathurin is guarding is who I would play against. And it's not that Benedict Mathurin's a bad defender, in my opinion. It's just that I would want to fade. I wouldn't want to play on a player like Jeremiah Fears when he has so many integral pieces there. Jeremiah Fears' shot attempts have probably gone down, if I would guess, just because, all like Herb Jones is back and, Trey Murphy's there and Jordan Poole's now back, and then Zion is back, and we see what Derek Queen is doing. So I would need to like find a lot of conviction to play on Jeremiah Fears. Hornets getting healthy on that 10.5 spread. It beat Charlotte plus the points for me. Steve Kerr bugging over there. Give me the Suns. Bless up, Chris. What up, dude? Warriors haven't covered their last 6 games versus Western Conference opponents. This is a quick revenge spot at the home after the Suns just beat them outright. Reminds me of the Cavs versus Bulls. Yeah, but the Cavs are the most overvalued team in the NBA. All right, let's see. Do we think Paolo will see big usage today with Franz and Suggs being doubtful? I'm projecting 30 plus. Yes, absolutely, Taylor. Ace coming off a triple-double game against Denver in the last spot. So now you get a much worse defensive rated team, right? And without Lloyd there, there's lack of rim protection as well. And they were without Nurkic in that last game as well, I'm pretty sure. So it could be really, really slight for, like Orlando. Never mind. Nurkic is off the injury report, so never mind. Tristan Da Silva is also listed as questionable. So Anthony Black or Tristan Da Silva, I think, have a big game to help out Apollo. Could be Desmond Bain, but I would bet on some of those value guys, in my opinion. Mitch says underdog has covered 10 of the last 11 in Pistons last 11 games. Swiss says I like Fierce 12.5 points. Might hit a little on the 15 at plus 145. All right, cool. All right, I'm out of here, man. I spent a little bit too long on this question to answer, but this is what I bet today. I bet Houston. I took Houston. I took the under. I took Paul George under his 16.5 points, and everything that we talked about outside of the games that we did go over are listed here. So I think real quick, let's see. Thank you, Kaden. I'm almost done.
It's
okay.
not for you, though. It's just for you.
Okay. You can get an over. Okay. You can get an over 237.5 if you like this total for Orlando, and 237.5 right there. So you can get over 237.5. It looks like it's the best number on the board. And these are the looks, man. Like I said, I only went through three games. But yeah, 3 or 4 games. The Orlando Utah game we didn't go over completely, but I gave you guys the handicap. Don't agree with the total dropping in that one. And that'll be it for today, man. Resources all listed here. Check them out if you guys are interested. Link is in the description for all of them. Tomorrow, I might take tomorrow off actually, but there are 7 games on the board for tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's 7 games on the board for tomorrow. 6-7 games for tomorrow. Best of luck on your action. Hit the like button if you found the stream valuable. A lot of good information being given out. Appreciate you all for tapping in. And enjoy your Saturday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.